Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on the Flash movie or film. So we are only in the second month of the year. We're in February, even though that time has gone extremely quick since the turn of the new year. But this year we once again have a bunch or plethora of new comic book movies from DC, Marvel, and some other publishers as well. But this year, in comparison to previous ones and ones in the future, is a bit of a smaller one with none of the titles really a certainty or a dead-on, hit to hit $1 billion. Though Wonder Woman and Eternals appear to be the two favourites to hit that big mark, with I guess Black Widow and Venom 2 surprisingly being the dark horses as to movies that could potentially hit that big 1 and 9 zeros. But of course, the amount of box office doesn't really correlate to how good a movie is. Usually the marketing is what brings bums to seats. Did you hear that, Warner Brothers? Marketing. It's a good word to use. It helps when you do the marketing. I know you haven't done proper marketing for a movie since 2018, but it'd help if you brought the marketing back and helped your films out. Anyway, but of course, throughout the video, let me know your various opinions on what we go over, because there is some pretty interesting stuff, and I'm sure it'll, spur some opinions to come out and go, hello, look at me. So let me know all of your opinions in the comment section down below, and even some theories you might have, because some of this can be spun into theories. And of course, if you're going to enjoy the video and you're excited from what happens or what we talk about in the video, why not drop a like on the video to show your support and excitement. So over the past few months, we've heard more and more about this upcoming Flash movie that is set to release in July of 2022, so about 2.5 years away roughly. The first big thing was of course the attachment of Andy Muschietti as director and Christina Hodson as the writer for the film. Andy of course being the director of the It films, with Pennywise the Clown, and Christina being the writer of Bumblebee and the recently released Birds of Prey film. And she's also attached to write the Batgirl film, but of course she's going to finish off the Flash film, then most likely move on to that. Now, shortly after all of this went down, Andy Muschietti did reveal at some sort of screening thing that the core story for his Flash movie that we will be getting in 2022 will be that of Flashpoint, which was a bit of a surprise to many, but not a total surprise, as it does seem that Warner Brothers was interested, or if we are going to be more honest, really wanted the first Flash movie being around the Flashpoint story from the comics, because it was, said with all the other directors attached to this movie in the past that, Flashpoint had been brought up, and in some cases, Flashpoint was the story of those scripts as well. Now, of course, Flashpoint being, set as the core story of the film did cause some discussions amongst fans, some completely against it, some in the middle, and some completely for it. I'm in the middle. All I care about is that they, do it right, and the main, they at least get the core message of the movie right, and the main point of Flashpoint is achieved for Barry Allen. But new details have just come out over the past 24 hours around the Flash film, so let's go over it all. So this is initially coming from Daniel RPK, who some of you might know. He is like an insider, or as he calls himself, an epic leaker, who is right, who's correct, might I say, more often than not. He's not correct 100% of the time, because that can just be hard because things change. But, of course, due to that, take this with a grain of salt, regardless of whether it is right or not at the moment, as things can change. But at the moment, the villains that will feature in the Flashpoint story in this movie coming out, in a couple of years, are that of Reverse Flash, or Eobard Thawne, which is the most unsurprising thing ever since, I guess, Iron Man dying in Endgame. Spoiler alert, I guess, for that. And the other villain to feature is that of Mirror Master. From what I know, it isn't clear which version, whether it's Sam Scudder or Evan McCulloch. I'm trying to guess which one they'd go for. Doesn't really matter, I guess, but it hasn't been made clear which version it is. But seeing as there is really no point talking about Reverse Flash, because it's pretty clear how he's going to fit into the story, and it was pretty obvious that he was going to be in this film, what role will the Mirror Master play? And to be honest, if I had to make a prediction, I think his role will be similar to that of Captain and Citizen Cold from the comics. So that would be, pre-Flashpoint, or before Barry, does the Flashpoint thing. He's the villain like he is in the comics. He's a part of the Rogues and everything. Or in the movie, he could be a part of a potential Rogues team, and we would probably see him in like an opening sequence against the Flash where they are fighting, or maybe the Flash catches him, robbing something or something along those lines. Maybe we could see the Mirror World. I think that'd be pretty cool, especially with a movie level budget. Seeing that'd be pretty damn interesting. And then once we hop into the Flashpoint timeline and Barry's gone back, saved his mum and all of that, and we're stuck with this, definitely this new reality, they could have him there as a hero, or at least looking like he's a hero, replacing the Flash as the main hero, or at least a hero of Central City. And then they could go deeper and reveal that he isn't really fully good, going down the Citizen Cold storyline from the comics. But that would depend on time, and I really don't think they would have enough time for all of that, unless it's done really quickly in a quick sequence. But that could be messy, so maybe they'd be better off avoiding that. So I personally feel his involvement will be, smaller rather than a main role sized. Like I don't think he'd be on like the level of Reverse Flash in the film or any other character like that. I think it'd be more, just a minor role. We see him at the beginning for a good amount, and then we'll see him maybe a couple of times in the Flashpoint timeline, because I just don't know how Mirror Master would work into a Flashpoint storyline in a big way outside of, that filling that sort of like that Citizen Cold story. But one of the other things that has been rumored, and I'm not 100% sure if this started from Daniel RPK or another source, I'm not too sure, but it has been rumored that the film will have the battle, which a lot of people have wanted, between the Amazonians and the Atlanteans in some capacity. It might not be exactly what we saw in the comics or the animated film, but it's going to be there in some capacity. Like, I don't think it would be as in-depth as the comic or even the animated movie, as they will probably want other stuff going on. I'm not saying it definitely won't be as in-depth. I just don't think it will, just because I'm thinking about timing, unless they want this movie to be bordering 3 hours. So, of course, this would mean Wonder Woman versus Aquaman, which, of course, would be extremely epic. And I guess one of the cooler things with this, because it would be highly unlikely this would ever happen in any other story in the DC cinematic stuff, is that we could see one or maybe both of these characters die on screen before the timeline is, put back to normal, or mostly normal. And, that brings them back alive and as to how they used to and, well, should be. Now, getting both Gal Gadot and Jason Momoa would probably be the biggest issue, just due to scheduling. Not the fact that they wouldn't want to do it, just due to scheduling, especially with Jason Momoa, as Aquaman 2 would be close to development and maybe even filming at that stage, and he is doing like 100,000 other things as well. He's on like 2 or 3 different shows along with being in the DC stuff. But it would be cool if they could make it work. I think Gal Gadot would be able to do it. I just don't know if Jason would have the time, but if they got ahead of time and put in his schedule, I'm pretty sure he'd be able to do it, and I'm pretty sure he'd want to do it as well. Now, one of the big things when we jump into the whole Flashpoint thing is seeing different versions of different people, and I guess what a lot of people want to see is different versions of heroes. Now, it would be interesting to see if they could get Cyborg. Obviously, he is a part of the Flashpoint story in the comics and also in the movie, the animated movie. I guess once again, it just matters if he works into it all. Like, that's the big thing. Like, they could try and be as comic accurate as they can to the source material, but if it just doesn't work for the movie and it feels a bit shoehorned in, then you're probably best avoiding it. Or at least, I don't want to say avoiding, but definitely just maybe like letting it slide and just being, hey, we won't be comic accurate in this aspect. But Cyborg would be one they could use, I guess, if Ray Fisher was up to coming and doing it and they wanted to do the CGI for the character. Flashpoint Batman is obviously the one that I think pretty much everyone wants, or a lot of people want. The big issue is the whole Batman situation with Warner Brothers and DC at the moment, because we've got the new Robert Pattinson Batman, and this movie will film before that Batman hits screen. So this movie will film at the beginning of next year, and The Batman doesn't come out till June, I think it is, next year. Maybe towards the end of filming, that movie would have come out by then, so the earliest they could really do anything, maybe if they wanted to use the Thomas Wayne from that movie, I guess, as the Flashpoint Batman, is, I guess, after responses from the movie comes out, so maybe in like pickups or reshoots. I don't know how they're going to handle Flashpoint Batman if they want to use him. If anything, they might avoid using him just because of the whole kerfuffle here, and they might use another superhero as some sort of insight into this Flashpoint world that Barry would go to. It'll be interesting to see what they do here, but I don't know, the Batman thing might be a bit of an issue. They could do the whole Harley Quinn sort of like yo-yo thing from the animated film. Now, she isn't from the comic story. She was just something put into the animated film. So it's like a Harley Quinn-like character of yo-yo. It's not actually meant to be like, I don't think she's ever said to be like the Harleen Quinzel of the Flashpoint timeline. It's just a very similar character called Yo-Yo. They could do that. They could just have Harley Quinn in there. That they could just do that, and it'd be cool, have a cool cameo there if they wanted to do that, but that's like for us to wait and find out. Now, one of the big things is the repercussions from Flashpoint. As I was saying before, the Batman movie comes out in the middle of next year. Reshoots and pickups for this Flash movie would be after the Batman movie comes out. So at that point, they could do some interesting things if they are going to bring in the Robert Pattinson Batman into the proper universe with like Flash, Aquaman, Wonder Woman, everything like that. That would be the time to do it in those reshoots and pickups. But I guess it matters on the response to the Batman film and whether they think it can tie into the other DC universe. But Flashpoint can change things, so I think he'll merge. I don't think you can have the DCEU, like a DC cinematic universe, without a Batman. Like, this was any other character, maybe apart from Superman, you could get away with it, but seriously, without Batman, it felt a bit weird. But obviously, on the note of Superman, I think we're bound to get a new Superman. I'd be surprised if Henry Cavill sticks around, but who knows? But he could be something that's changed in Flashpoint, whether we just see it's a different looking Superman roughly, or even they cast someone else. who knows? But there should be some other minor changes. They might even change Mera because of the whole Amber Heard situation, even though I think both people in that issue are in the wrong. It was just an abusive relationship. I think there's just too much drama around her, so she might be replaced, but we won't know. But yeah, I'm just excited for the Flashpoint movie just to see what it does and what, like, it's not going to be a complete reboot. I've seen people saying, oh, it's a complete reboot. It's not, because you're still going to have Ezra Miller, Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman, Jason Momoa's Aquaman, and other characters. So it's not a complete reboot. It's a soft reboot, and it will just change some things up, introduce some new things, and just change some characters and castings and various things like that, and actors. So I'm interested to see what it does. All eyes are going to be on this movie, especially from DC fans once we get closer. And I'm going to try and do is keep you up to date with stuff that happens from this movie as much as I can. I don't think it's going to be too much stuff until maybe the end of this year, or at least the last quarter of this year. But I'm excited for more stuff to come out so we can talk about it more. I'm just excited for this movie in general. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could drop a like on it to show support. Let me know in the comments section down below your various opinions on what we went over. Are you looking forward to this movie? Are you a bit hesitant? What things would you like implemented into the Flashpoint movie, like cameos and other superheroes and stuff being in it? Let me know in the comments section down below. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, and I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye.